I think an important conversation for today is just educating the audience on why we started the business and maybe a little example of who we are and why we're here and what we think we can do with this business.
Yeah, when you first came to me, I remember you reached out to me and you shared CBD and what it did for you. And I had no idea other than, doesn't that have THC in it? Are we able to use it? But Corey, I trusted you, and that led me to dig deeper into what it was and what was possible. And when I looked at the challenges we face in the fire service when it comes to sleep deprivation, stress, anxiety, pain, energy, and focus, CBD seemed to have the answer to a lot of those problems. And I hadn't slept in a decade, so I found a CBD that was THC-free. And this was all based on your experience. And I took that CBD, and it was the first time I slept through the night in a decade. And at that point, I was sold. But what we had a problem with was finding a product that specifically addressed those things I just mentioned. And we looked, and we realized there's nothing out there. And for us, like, we wanted to make an impact on the fire service and first responders in general. And we had to create it ourselves. And that was something that we had no experience doing. We had business experience, but we didn't know much about it. So we found the right team. And we talk about like this thing being meant to be. We found the right team, the first team we reached out to. And that was just the beginning of it all. And from there, that was 2 years ago, over 2 years ago.
Yeah. I think what was important with my original journey was like looking and just Googling, how do I get better sleep? How do I reduce stress? And the common theme when I was looking for natural ways of doing that was CBD kept coming up. And before that point, I had no interest and didn't know that you could take CBD and it was as clean and benign as it is. And that while taking a THC test, if you get the right product, you can absolutely be on CBD without getting THC in your body. So I started making phone calls to websites, calling to contact us, getting a hold of owners of these companies. What I realized is there's a lot of people in this industry that are just money chasers. They're not doing it for the right reasons. And frankly, I did not trust many of the people that I talked to. And then you look at a website, right? And the website has any and all products. They have vapes, they have products that contain THC, products that are out there and contain other things that would put our jobs at risk. And as you and I have talked many times, I'm not against any of those things. And I think they fulfill a great purpose. And if a client wants it and people want that, why not offer it to them? But we're in a different boat. We're dealing with people that are in the military, nursing, firefighters, police, and in careers that don't allow THC in your body. So I think that's one thing that kind of separates us from other people is that we're able to only provide products that allow you to take anything that's on our website and be confident that you're not going to have a positive THC test, no matter what that test is. Because we test down to 0.000% THC in our product. So it's the best of the best.
Well, it holds a lot of weight that we're firefighters and we love our jobs. Like tomorrow, we both go to work, we'll be on shift, and we look forward to going to work.
Absolutely.
So we understand how important our jobs, our careers are to us. So we would never jeopardize anybody else's. And more importantly, we wouldn't jeopardize our own. We've been using these products now for 2 years. You've been randomly tested 3 times. I've been randomly tested 3 times. One of my favorite things is when we get that text from a firefighter at our own department who is now getting a random test and they're like, hey, we're gonna see if these products are really what you say they are. And we're like, we have zero concern.
Yeah.
Zero concern because it's just not in there. It's not in there. And what I love about what we do, you talked about the testing down to 0.000%. But we also have another layer that I'm proud of is that our products are not even made in a facility that makes THC products.
Right.
So there's no chance of cross-contamination, kind of like the gluten-free standard. So with us being firefighters, with us using the products now for 2 years, when I say products, we use multiple products daily. So this idea that it's going to build up in your system over time, and then you're going to test positive, it's just not true. And it's not true because of a theory, but it's because we've experienced that, and that's the case. So I'm proud of what we built. I think the challenge at some level is educating our brothers and sisters, both fire, police, military, that it's possible to have a product that can make a great impact on your life that is not going to jeopardize your career. And we're living examples of that for 2 years now. And we have so many across the country, all over the country, that are experiencing the same thing, where they trust us first, which is important to us. And that was one of the things we set out from the beginning, was to build trust and credibility, and everything else would take care of itself. And that's where we're at now. And that's why we're seeing so many success stories. And it's even reaching beyond the first responder community. I had a buddy the other day, Chris Snow. He reached out to me, sent me a text, and his mom hadn't been able to go to the gym for a decade, and he gave her some of the pain aid. And now she's running with the Respond Wellness flag, through her community, sharing Respond Wellness with that 60 and over population. So it's reaching beyond the first responder community, which we're proud of, because we have something that can positively impact your life, get that quality of life back. And that starts with sleep. Once you start getting your sleep right, everything else tends to fall in place. And we've talked about this. When you're sleep deprived, the smallest problems, like the littlest things, seem gigantic. They seem big. But when you're well rested, you gain perspective. And now you have this perspective that you don't have when you're exhausted, when you're tired, when you're depleted. And now everything else can kind of like, all right, this is not a big deal. My patience is there. I could solve this problem. And once that sleep gets in line and you start moving into some of the other things that we offer, the dialed in, where you get that steady energy, that focus, pain aid. Anybody who's done our job for a period of time, you're just going to have pain getting on and off the rig alone. Those steps, they don't make them for guys my size, right? So it's like almost like a box jump down to get off the rig. So yeah, we've been able to do something that I'm super proud of. We're doing it in a way with integrity, authenticity, and we're earning that credibility. And we've always wanted to earn it. Like we want the products to speak for themselves, and the people behind the products to be people that you trust, that are actually doing the job. We're not somebody who's come in from a different industry and we're just trying to make our way into the first responder community. We do the job. We get it.
Yeah, I think there's value in talking about the products individually, because there's a lot of products out there that are just CBD, like an isolate, and that's it. And then there's filler, right? We in talking with the biologists, the chemists, the doctors, we said we do not want any filler. This is kind of like a fire truck. There is only so much space and you can only put in so much equipment. So the herbs, the extracts, all the ingredients outside of just the CBD are fantastic. And frankly, it's more expensive than the CBD is.
Right.
So we're not in this as a money grab, although, any business, you want to make some money. But the most important thing for us is to get the results that are needed. So I would implore like our clients that are looking to go in and look at the backside of the bottle and see what ingredients are in there, because a lot of these ashwagandhas and the Coriolis and a lot of things that people are looking for are already in our products. And that's, I think, what, in talking with our, chemists and formulators and biologists, we're like, we need these products to work, because the people that are taking them, there's a lot on the line. And I guess that's kind of where I go back, is like, you need to serve those who serve others. And I think that's what we're doing with this business. I really do.
Yeah, we're out there for the right reasons. We're doing things for the right reasons. And it's interesting because our population, when they go to work, their job as an EMT or a paramedic is to form a general impression. As a firefighter, to form a scene size up. Like, we're pretty critical. We have a critical eye, and we're always looking for that negative, that thing that could get us, right? So when they're looking at the back of our bottle and they're seeing those ingredients, and those are the things that they're looking for, which allows our product to meet a specific need. Like, we're not, like you said, we're not just taking CBD and saying, hey, it's going to address all these things. We're more like a sniper, where we're very specific in what we're putting in there and the amounts we're putting in there. We're not just loading a product up with a ton of CBD and just trying to push it off as something that's going to address the four main things that we're trying to address, which are sleep, stress, energy, and pain. So we have a critical eye when it comes to the people that are looking at our products. Have a critical eye, and we want that. Like, that's good. that holds us to a higher standard. That makes us work even harder to deliver something to a population that you're not going to fool them. They know, because when they make those decisions in the job, whether it's police, fire, EMS, there's lives on the line. And in this case, it's their careers that are on the line. And like I said, we don't take it lightly. We live that ourselves. And we're examples of 2 years, every day, taking products, no issues.
Yeah, my favorite product that I take has been the sleep aid. I mean, frankly, that was the thing that I needed to improve the most, because I think like my reactions to dealing with my family, to waking up feeling like crap every day, like I needed better sleep. And that's why I started researching how do I get better sleep. So the way I take our product is I take the tincture and the capsules every single day. I take one full serving of the tincture, and that kind of just chills me out, and it hits a little quicker than the capsules. And then I take one, which is a half serving of the capsule, and that kind of gets me in that deep, nice sleep. So I wake up every morning feeling rested, rather I get 5 hours or 9 hours of sleep. And like you said, I'll bet I've taken it every single day, other than when I forgot to bring it to work, you know, a couple times. But I've been taking it 2.5 years now. I love it.
What I love is we're getting data now from brothers and sisters that are using the sleep aid that tracks their sleep, whether they're using a Garmin or a Whoop, whatever tracking device. And we're seeing numbers like REM sleep that are reaching 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like 4 hours. And these are firefighters that were getting 45 minutes, 90 minutes of REM. And now it's like quality sleep. And I think that's what's really important. Like hours of sleep are important, but what type of sleep are you getting in those hours? Is it restoring the mind? Because the mind kind of does a wash while you're sleeping. It resets, it regroups, it regenerates, and it puts you in a good position, but you have to get in that deep sleep for that to happen. So when we look at the mental health, crisis that we're facing, and there's a lot of good things that are out there on the back end to address that, the neurofeedback, the ketamine therapy, these are all great things. But on the front end, if you look at a lot of these first responders, their sleep is way off.
Yeah.
So I'm proud that we're addressing things on the front end. And I've experienced the same thing. I use the products just like you do. I take the tincture, typically 15 minutes before I go to bed. And I take 2 capsules of the sleep aid about an hour. And that's my go-to. And that allows me to stay asleep. And before, like I said, when I was waking up, prior to doing CBD, I'd wake up 5 times a night. And it's like, if I were to look at my REM then, I didn't track it. I can't imagine how bad it was. I just wasn't getting that deep sleep. I also like the dialed in. What I like about the dialed in is I take the dialed in first thing in the morning, take 2 of them, and it gives me a steady energy and like laser focus. So like whatever I'm working on, I'm locked in. And for me, that's important because I'm somebody who easily gets distracted. Like I'll work on, if you look at my nightstand, I'm reading 3 different books at one time. It's like the book circuit, right? But with the dialed in, I'll focus on one book and actually finish that book. If I'm working on a project at home, I'll finish that project. And that's important because we get so spread thin and we have so many things that we're responsible for. It's easy to do a lot of things but not get anything done.
Yeah.
And then you take the dialed into work and our jobs. How important is focus for our jobs? So that dialed in has been a great product, and I continue to use it on a daily basis.
Yeah, I've gotten some recent feedback in terms of the balance, and there are some people with some acute anxiety and some struggles. They were having a hard time dealing with daily life. And not that we make any medical claims or anything, but when enough people are taking your product, and it was intended and built to help people like deal with stress and anxiety, and then you're getting feedback from clients that are taking it on a daily basis and they're having some relief, that's inspiring. And I'm not sure exactly the chemistry of how it works in each person's body, but knowing that it's working and helping people just motivates me, and I know it motivates you as well. That's exactly why we built this company and exactly why we're pushing this forward.
One of the things we've done recently is we've found firefighters throughout the country that believe in our products, that are getting results, and they're now our ambassadors.
Yeah.
And what's so cool is they work for fire departments that have random drug tests, They work for fire departments that have THC policies, and they believe and trust our products so much, they now are sharing their name, they're sharing their photos, they're sharing their results. And for the fire service and first responders in general, that's really important to us, that we see other firefighters who have careers just like us, who work under policies just like theirs, that are willing to come out and be like, hey, this is what it's doing for me. If you're struggling with these things, and we're hearing things like changed my life. My wife notices a difference.
Yeah.
My children say I'm more patient. We talk about coming off shift, man, that first day back, and if you didn't get a good night's sleep, and we work the 48-96, so it could be 2 nights where you don't sleep, and you come home and you don't have that patience because you're depleted, right? What does that look like for the next 4 days? If you start off on a bad first couple of hours at home with the family because you react instead of respond, that changes that whole 4 day. And now you're kind of trying to make up for that when you got angry with the kid or with the wife. And a lot of the guys and girls that are taking our products are saying that's gone.
Yeah.
Whether it's them just coming home and being able to use sleep aid to take a nap, to get them back to where their batteries charged back up, or using the balance to get the kids off to school and then get in that space where they could kind of regroup. It's been great to hear that because it's so important, man. Like, we give our whole lives to this career, whether you do 20, 30 years, and at the end of it, our families are going to still be there, right? Our careers are going to come and go, and we want to make sure that we gave them what we give our careers. Because we go into work 48 hours, we give our careers everything we have. Our families deserve that same effort, that same energy, and that same love. And we've provided something that's helping people do that. And I mean, how do you measure that other than the stories that we're hearing?
Yeah.
You know, it's keeps us going, man. Keeps us going.
Yeah, let's address a couple of the like commonly asked questions, and so we can kind of teach and educate the clients how to take the product or when to take the product. But one of the things that I get a lot of feedback on is how to take the product, like the sleep aid. Can you take the sleep aid at work? And the answer to that question for me individually is absolutely. I take it at work. I take it exactly as I do at home. And I'm an engineer, I drive the fire truck. So, we get the call, we got to be up, and I got to be totally focused and driving. And I actually feel better and more focused when I'm on the product than when I'm not. So additionally, when we get back from calls, myself and I know a lot of other people have real hard challenge getting back to sleep, right? Because you're up, you have no idea if you're up for a 15-minute call right back in the station or if you're on a 2-hour extrication. But when I get back, I always take a half serving of the tincture because it just takes the edge off, gets me back into that relaxation mode, and gets me back to sleep way faster than when I was not taking it. How about you?
Yeah, I do the same thing. I take the products at work. I've never had an issue waking up for a call. I could honestly say over the 2 years that I've been using the sleep aid at work, I've never missed a call. I never had to have somebody knock on my door like, hey, bro, we got a call.
Yeah.
I wake up right away. When I get back to the firehouse, I don't need to do the additional tincture. I typically fall right back asleep.
Nice.
I'd say 90% of the time. There's always that off night where it's just for whatever reason, maybe it was what I ate, maybe too much sugar or whatever I had before I went to bed. But for the most part, I fall right back asleep. And then when I wake up in the morning, man, I feel good. And I get it, right? You don't want to sleep through a call. So that's a big fear people have. But both of us use it on shift, and we have not had an issue with waking up for calls. And more importantly, being able to fall back asleep. Because let's say you get that call at 2 a.m, you get back by 3. If you're not falling back asleep, you got no sleep for that night. So yeah, it's important, man. And then the balance, I use the balance on shift as well. I like that because it's taking away any additional stress that might be there. I do a pretty good job of what I call a maintenance program of trying to keep myself in a good spot mentally when it comes to my faith, my family, my fitness. Those are things that keep me whole. But there are also days where it's just like a little bit more than I feel I can handle, and taking that balance just takes the edge off, right? And it just allows me to not be as upset about things or not dwell on things. Or I like to use the word ruminate. Ruminate's when you just continually think about a problem you have. And this allows me to put that problem on the shelf. Yeah. And it's still there, but I'm not just continually playing that reel in my head over and over again. And I like that about the balance. It kind of takes that, puts it on the shelf. We'll deal with it when the time comes and move on from there.
Yeah, the way I take the balance is in my same type of regimen or maintenance program is when I get home from work, you know, I have a way that I go about it. If I'm able to take a quick nap, I absolutely do that. I always take my socks off in the morning when I get home because that tells me like you're just relaxed. You don't need to be quick out the door. And I always take the balance when I get home. And I don't know if it just helps me psychologically and or the products and ingredients, but it's always like kind of those few things, getting to sleep, getting my socks off and taking balance gets me back in the headspace for home. I'm like, I go from this hyper-vigilant state of, you know, the red lights go off, you hear the tones and you're off, you know, heart rate's going up, to getting home. And now I need to, when I have these same stimulus, like kids yelling at me or whatever has to happen, I need to understand I'm no longer in the fire service. I'm now dad, and my kids are the most important thing at that point. So that's really helped me take the edge off and get my mind back into a good space. And I think we all as firefighters and or first responders need to have those things in place, because when you're doing that, not that you're going to be perfect, but it's that you're putting in the effort and trying. And like you're saying, the response to whatever that stimuli is has to be as good as it can be, as fast as it can be.
Right. And it goes back to the name of our company, Respond Wellness. There's two reasons for that name. Number one is we wanted to focus on first responders, right? First responders are our community. It's the people that we have a lot of respect for, and we wanted to just focus on that group. And that's obvious. Respond Wellness, first responders. But the other part is just what you touched on. There's a difference between reacting and responding. And when you have a thoughtful approach to stimuli, whether that's the wife says something, the kids say something, and you have space, and Viktor Frankl talks about this, right? Between stimuli and response, there's this space.
Yeah.
And we want to create that space, because if there's no space, it's reaction. And reaction brings shame. And then shame turns into like, man, I feel like a bad dad. I feel like a bad husband. Anybody who's done this job long enough has all been there. We've all been to the point where we've reacted. Maybe you ran a really tough call and they're talking about how something in the house isn't working. And you're like, really? Do you know what I just did? No, they don't know what you just did. Right. They don't live that life. So it's real easy to react to that. And the balance, what I like about that is it creates that space. Stimuli hits, you might feel it for a second, but instead of just firing off at the mouth, think about it. You might not even respond. You might let it go. Sometimes responding is not saying a word. That's your response. And then they're like, oh, they catch it themselves. They're like, you know, he needs a couple minutes here. So I'm proud of that response that we're creating as opposed to that reaction that a lot of us tend to fall into. And to sit here and say I never do that anymore would be a lie. Like there's still times where I react, right?
Absolutely.
But I've definitely decreased that significantly to the point where my wife and children notice.
Yeah.
And that to me is everything. When your kids come up to you and like, Dad, you're just so much more patient. You know, that's, how do you measure that? That's a big deal.
And that feels good. And I don't think that's, you know, like you go from being a jerk to taking CBD and you're like this great person, right? Like, let's not make something
right.
Not what it truly is. Like right. There's a lot that goes into that. That's having control over your life. That's actually making decisions. You can't stay up till 2 a.m, take sleep aid, and then think you're going to get the best night of sleep. Like the circadian rhythm's important. You need to understand how to live a healthy and productive lifestyle as well. You exercise like crazy, which is a stress reliever for you. I know we've had lots of conversations where like you're feeling the weight of the world and your go-to is like, I'm putting this stress somewhere else, right? I'm going to go hit the weight room, rather it's 10 minutes or 40 minutes. It's something that gets rid of that distress out of your life. And then you come out feeling better, more focused, more able to deal with those stress. Yeah. So I think people that are taking this product don't have an unreal expectation that it's going to change your life either. Like, let's get a good regimen built up. Let's get good sleep habits. Let's get good, healthy relationship habits. Work on your communication. Almost like do something each day to make the firehouse better, do something each day when you're home to make your life better. You make your relationships better, get your fitness better, something like that. I think that's another focus that we need to have people do to just kind of create a more healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, I like how you said that because it's part of the program.
Yeah.
It's not the only thing you do, it's part of it, right? Eating healthy is part of that. Limiting alcohol, like if you're drinking alcohol, like large amounts of alcohol before you go to bed, it's proven you're not going to get a good night's sleep. That's just reality. Doesn't mean you don't enjoy yourself, but just understand the trade-off. There's a trade-off to everything. So if you're going to do that, it's going to impact your sleep, even if you use sleep aid. And I've talked to guys, you're like, the sleep aid didn't work. Did you drink before you went to bed? Yeah. What'd you drink? They drank a lot. Like sleep aid is not going to overcome the effects of alcohol on sleep. So it's finding balance, and it's finding a way to be real about what it is that you enjoy doing, what things bring peace to your life. For me, my faith has always been one of those. And like you said, my fitness. And those two things allow me to focus on my family. For me, my priorities are pretty clear. It's the fire service isn't number one. Doesn't mean I can't go to work and do a really good job, but it's not my identity and it's not the most important thing to me. So I had to change that early in my career because I did put the fire service as the highest priority. And over time, I realized that was just one of those things that was putting me in a bad spot mentally. So yeah, man, it's part of the program. CBD, make it part of your program, but don't neglect all the other things that are going to be important to overall health, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And at the end of this career, we want to leave the career whole. We want to look back on our careers and be able to be like, that enriched my life. Our careers have a great way of giving us a perspective that the everyday person may not have. We see people in some of the worst conditions on the worst days of their lives. And there's two ways we could look at that. We could look at that and walk away like the world's the terrible place and I can't believe this is happening. Or we could have a perspective of like, how grateful am I for what I have? Yeah. How grateful am I to have the home I have and to have the life I have and to have the love I have? So, and you're going to walk away from the job seeing it one of two ways, as enriching your life or as ruining your life. And how we approach the job, the program, the maintenance program, the things that we do on a daily basis are going to determine what that looks like. And I know we both want to leave this career feeling like it enriched our lives and made us better people. And that's part of why we're doing what we're doing. It's helping those firefighters on a daily basis have a good daily method of operation so that when it's all done and they hang up their helmet for that last time, that they can look back and be like, this made my life better.
Yeah, another question that I get a lot through our emails is from normal people, right? Just like the office worker, they'll email and say, hey, is this just for first responders or can we take it too? And to me, it's like, yeah, this is for everybody. What do you mean? But we need to address that because I think that's important, because I think there's only a certain amount of first responders in this world, and then all the other people. Yeah. Like, I want the general population to take our product and realize this product is as much for them as it is for anybody else. So I think the niche of the business and why we're passionate about doing first responders is because that is our community, right? But furthermore, our community is the general population. And I think that our products could be amazing for a lot of other people. We just don't necessarily market or reach out to them because it's not in our close network. But I think really people outside of the first responder world need to understand this product is built for people that have to fit these certain tests and or structures. So it would absolutely work for them. And we feel like our CBD product is the best out there.
Yeah, and we're doing the work for it to be. I guess the question they could ask themselves is, am I having trouble sleeping?
Yeah.
Do I have stress in my life? Do I need more energy and focus? And am I experiencing pain? And if you could say yes to any of those questions, then our products are for you. And what I would encourage you to do when you look at it being for a first responder community, what you're seeing is a product that's made at the highest level and that is safe, effective, and giving you exactly what they say is in the product, And that's what you get when you get a product that's, focused on first responders, is that quality. So if there's anything you take away from, is this for first responders only, is the quality of the product. All the rest it's for everybody.
Yeah.
And if you have any of those challenges, we have something that can help you with those.
Yeah, the efficacy and the standards that we have to meet to fit that respond, right? The respond people, the firefighters, first responder, military, it has to be so high.
Yeah.
And so if it's meeting that standard, it's absolutely meeting the threshold of general population and exceeding, I'd say 95% of the other CBD products out there. And we know that there's a large amount of people that don't want THC in their body, rather they get tested or not.
Right.
And that's what you're going to get with ours. The confidence that you're not going to have any THC in your body. It's not going to accumulate over time. It's not going to build in your system. It's just not there.
And we've proven that.
Yeah.
Like, we could sit here and talk about studies and all the things and the data and the science, but we've lived it.
Yeah.
2 years on products, using all 4 products daily, randomly tested 3 times. We have our random drug tests. Maybe we'll share those as well at some point. And I think we're at close to thousands of firefighters at this point have tried our products at some level. Our own organization, we have a large population of firefighters, which we're proud of as well. Now that I'm seeing it on the counter in our firehouses, or I'm seeing it in the bunk room, in our fire, what a large step that's been, right? From the day we started to like now, where people are actually bringing it to work and they're taking it at work and we're talking about it at the kitchen table. I recently had a firefighter pull me aside. And he's like, man, I didn't even know he was using our products. He's like, your sleep aid has changed my life. Thank you for what you guys are doing.
That's awesome. You know, what's unique though is on that realm, it's becoming more mainstream, right? But just the other day, I had a guy, we were at the drill ground training, he and I were chatting, and he goes, oh, I'm retiring soon. I can't wait to get on your product, right? So we feel like it's like out and people are feeling comfortable with it. But I think there is tons of people out there that still don't feel comfortable. I understand where they're at.
Right.
And I wish there was something we could say or do to prove that. You know, me and you and several other people have already had success getting tests and then coming clear, but there's still a population that's out there that doesn't feel that. So I hope someday that minimizes and there's more people that just feel comfortable understanding that it's going to work. I also hope that, you know, administrators and the leaders of the fire service, they need to wrap their heads around CBD is benign in terms of you don't get high from it.
Yeah.
It's not going to put you
There's
into
no
a
psychoactive, like
no
you're not
euphoria.
Hallucinating. There's none of that stuff. Well, going back to that firefighter on the drill ground and the chiefs, we'll talk about both. The chiefs at the chief level, and then understand firefighters are going to do something. And what we're finding is the shift, the night before their shift is the night they struggle with sleep the most. I'm going into work, and depending on your responsibility, it changes, right? Paramedics have a huge responsibility, company officers, you know, it just depends. Like the stress and the responsibility might be in line. The amount of responsibility you have, the amount of stress you feel the night before. So what are they doing? A lot of them are drinking alcohol to fall asleep. We know alcohol, you're not getting a good night's sleep. What's the aftermath of alcohol in the morning? You got guys coming into work in a fog. You know, they're using sleep medications. They're using things that create a sense of they're out of it when they wake up. They don't feel rested. So this is the type of firefighter you have showing up to a firehouse, and you have this alternative, this thing that doesn't give you any of those side effects and creates a good night's sleep. So why are we not looking at it? Now, the question that firefighter who said, I can't wait to retire so I could use your product, I think a lot of times that's just not understanding your policies. There's a lot of firefighters that think we have a CBD policy. There's a lot of fire departments that don't have a CBD. The majority of fire departments have a THC policy, right? There's no CBD policy. It's a THC policy. Like, you cannot have THC in your system when you get randomly drug tested. Our products don't have THC in them. It's not in there. So it's understanding your policy and understanding, like, we don't have THC in our products. So I think it's a combination of, like, what are firefighters actually doing so the chiefs could recognize, like, hey, this is reality. whether we see it or not, that's what's happening. And here's this other thing that we could do that's healthy. And then the firefighters themselves taking responsibility, understand your policy.
Yeah. Yeah, I would almost go to like the point of let's just have a sit down conversation, me and you're chief. And I say, Chief, would you rather have people drinking large amounts of alcohol or taking Ambien or taking melatonin? Or would you rather them take CBD? And there's a lot of chiefs out there that don't know the difference and would rather them do alcohol, Ambien, and melatonin, because that's how it's been forever, right? And they think CBD is so harmful and bad, but you got to educate yourself. You got to take the product. You got to learn about it, because in essence, like we're saying, there is no side effects. You look at the white paper studies from the 1980s that have not necessarily been published to the masses, and they can't find anything wrong with CBD. There's no side effects of CBD. So that you could literally almost drink a whole bottle, nothing's gonna happen.
Right.
Like,
it's interesting because fire chiefs spend a lot of time addressing issues like sick leave, behavioral issues. They spend a lot of bandwidth and a lot of time. Or we're going to have the best apparatus, or we're going to have the best equipment, we're going to have this SOP and all these things. And they're failing to look at, like, if you have somebody who's using a lot of sick time or behavioral issues, there's usually something else in there.
Yeah.
There's something else in there. And a lot of times it's a substance mixed in there, right? There's some sort of substance.
Absolutely.
So like, we're just going to address things on the back end and be like, this is a bad employee. No, they're actually not. They have a decade of good, solid work, and now they're having a bad season. What's the problem? Well, they're drinking. Why? Because they're not sleeping. Why? Because they have nightmares. Like, let's circle back and let's get to the root of the issue. And oftentimes it's just like, no, this is a bad employee. We need to discipline them. And we spend all this money and time on like getting the best equipment. The number one thing we have at the fire department or any first responder community is the first responder. And like, how do we prepare them and give them the resources they need? And sometimes it takes like doing some digging and looking into what's out there. And if there's chiefs that are listening to this, I encourage you to take a look at CBD, because it's a healthy option without all the side effects that could put your firefighters and your first responders in a position to show up prepared to do the job at a high level and eliminate some of these other issues that you're spending all your time trying to fix, put Band-Aids on. So I think it's getting to that root issue.
Yeah, and I don't want to, when we're addressing these things, I don't want anybody to feel like we're finger pointing. And we understand the challenges of being a chief and making these big decisions, right? Like, sometimes you got to look at what's the risk reward of allowing a department to take CBD versus not.
Right.
Like, hey, we're not going to really, it's not in the policy, so go ahead and take it, versus taking an offensive approach and going and providing education and maybe providing some type of outsource or outreach, saying this is something that helps. Obviously, we are in a position where we want people to take that offensive approach, and we hope that they do. Hence why we have started the company and why we get the messages that we do. So it is definitely a hard position to be in those leadership roles and to pick your battles and what you're going to stand up for, what you're going to move forward on. But I do think it's valuable enough to get moving in that direction with CBD. And I think if you were to ask a union representative how their people and their membership feel about it, I think definitely people are positive and pro CBD. And I think that's going to alternatively potentially go into like they're pro and positive on THC in the future as well.
I think what the first responder needs to hear from their leadership is it's okay to take CBD.
Right.
Make sure you're taking a product that is third-party tested and THC-free.
And a reputable company.
Yeah, do your homework. Don't go to the gas station and buy something off the counter.
For sure.
Right? Don't go to some place that you know nothing about. But they need to hear it from their leadership.
Yeah.
Not everybody. There are plenty of people that trust us. We've earned their trust. They've done their homework. But there's a large population out there that aren't willing to try it because they're not hearing it from their leadership.
Yeah, and I think that's worth addressing just from an educational standpoint, is there's different types of THC that are out there. We won't address all of them, but there's a THC-free, which is where we're at, right? 0.000. There's a certificate of analysis that you get from the third-party tester that's going to go in on the back end and show all the ingredients, and it's also going to show how much THC, heavy metals, all of these organics and pesticides and whatnot. You have to have that to know what you're putting in your body. But there's other companies that are putting products out there that they're basically branding as THC-free that actually have 0.03%.
Yeah.
But it's at a level low enough on the threshold where they get away with saying that. But I think that is the biggest myth that we need to talk about and educate people. Make sure you're on a 0.000% product, not a 0.03%. Because those are the products, you take it a couple times and you got a test, you'd be fine. You take that over the course of a year and it's built up in your system. And I think that kind of those myths have been put onto our products.
Yeah, for sure. But make sure, like you said, any reputable company is going to have an avenue where you could see that third-party test.
Absolutely.
You should be able to track that. And for us, it's a scan code that's on our boxes that takes you right to that third-party test. So you can see what you're putting in your body. If that's not there, I would encourage you not to trust it, especially as a first responder who's going to get randomly drug tested. It's just not worth it. So that's the kind of homework you need to do and make sure you put, and it's no different than like supplements. There are certain supplements out there that you could buy right now off the counter that are going to show up meth in your body if you're using them over a period of time. It's going to look like you're taking meth. So do your homework. Your careers are too important not to. But that's why we exist. We positioned ourselves to be that company on that mission to provide that product for this community. So,
yeah, we don't chat a lot about the pain aid. Let's talk about the pain aid, how to take it, why would you take a lotion over a tincture, and what to expect with the pain aid product. Because one of the things I get a lot is people are taking ibuprofen and Advil, Tylenol, or whatever that may be, and they get instant relief, right? And so when you're taking a product like ours, it's not a product that's going to provide you instant relief. It's not like my shoulder hurts and I take the tincture, my shoulder just feels great. What it's doing is it has the right ingredients and products inside there that's giving you better blood flow. It's allowing your body to rest and recover better versus just healing that in the moment pain. Because an Advil, Tylenol, ibuprofen, they all serve their purpose. And you need those in your life at times, right? But you take it to the next level of acute pain, and now you have the Oxycontins and some of the other things that are addictive and damaging. And what we're trying to do is create a product that you can put in your body and start recovering your body and allowing your body to work and rest as it's intended to be, right? And then you have the lotion that you can put on, the topical, that's going to give you some type of instant relief and has some active ingredients that deal with that current pain, but it's also circulation and flow that's trying to make you feel better in the moment, but also improve you in the future.
Yeah. And you got to be patient with it. And it's reducing inflammation. Like when we bring down inflammation, that's where you get that relief. That inflammation is where that pain comes from. I recently used the Pain Aid topical. We had the Crucible event, and where I was responsible for doing several workouts with the participants. And there was a point where I was in pain. Like my legs were on fire. And I took the topical and put it all over my legs.
Yeah.
And within an hour of having to go back out and gear up and do a workout with them, I felt great.
Yeah.
So it will give you that relief. That's what I like about the topical. You can put it in a specific area. For this purpose, it was both my legs. And I got relief, and I was continuing to move on. And there were a lot of people eyeballing me. They were seeing me like put it on, and they're like, what is he doing over there? So yeah, man, that pain aid's great. And how many of us have pain?
Right.
If you were to ask the general population, who's experienced pain at some point in their life, everybody's going to raise their hand. One of the coolest stories we've had was a firefighter who has over 30 years on the job. He's now retired, and he was pretty skeptical guy when it came to CBD. And unbeknownst to me, he ordered our product, and he got the Pain Aid, and he got the topical, and he's consistently used it for over a year now. He said it's the only thing that's given him relief. And he's used some of the things that you mentioned. So when you get that tenured firefighter who's strong in his beliefs, who gives something a try and then gets that immediate relief, that's pretty rewarding.
That's great, man. But yeah, and I'm motivated because you have people that are on products you've mentioned a few times, and I've had some stories as well, is people that are buying extra products, bring it to the station and handing it to their people just to get them to try to feel the same way they do.
Yeah.
I mean, what better example of, hey, it's working for me, I want to share this with you, than people pouring it out and having other people take it in the firehouse. That's awesome. That's so motivating.
And that's what it's about, right? Anytime I go and I see a good movie, I want to share it with people.
Yeah.
I eat at a good restaurant, I want to share it with people. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing our brothers and sisters getting results. They're seeing their brothers and sisters experiencing difficulties in areas, whether it's the pain, whether it's the sleep, and they're just trying to help them out. And it's just brothers and sisters helping out other brothers and sisters. And that's why this thing is growing, is because the results are there. And people are beginning to trust that this is something that is safe, effective, and has long-term results.
Yeah, I think one of the other things we need is just the CBD in general has such a hard time in terms of marketing, right? Like, we can't pay for advertisements to get the word out. I think we need the people that have taken this and had positive effects. We need you to be active in reaching out to other people, sharing it on your social media stories, and letting other people know that it's okay to take it. You've had drug tests that turned out to have negative THC after years of taking it. We need you to share those stories, share that messaging for us, and allow us and help us to grow. Be ambassadors. Even if you're not part of our ambassador program, be an ambassador for us. And if you have interest in a good sized community, reach out to us directly and become an ambassador for us. Help us, build this from the inside out.
Yeah, it's been great building that ambassador team. We have a team of 10 right now, firefighters. It'd be great to get police officers. It'd be great to get nurses and doctors. Like, we want to build that team out. But we're just proud of the relationships that we built a strong relationship with Nexstrong and Blake Stinnett over there at Nexstrong, who's doing great work with the mental health for first responders. They're a nonprofit that provides resources immediately if you're having a problem. When you have somebody of that credibility and that influence and they trust us, we don't take that lightly.
Yeah.
And we're so proud of that relationship that we built with Nexstrong. And we're continuing to build those relationships. And it's happening through the products working, through the credibility and the trust that we've formed through relationships and being who we say we are and doing what we say we're going to do, that we're just really excited to see where this goes and who else comes on board and helps us with this mission, because it really is a mission. It's a mission to put our first responders in a place mentally, physically, and spiritually where they could lead healthy lives and serve at a high level. And going back to, there's going to be a day when this is all over, that they look back on their careers and be like, I did a good job and I left here feeling like that's, made my life better.
Yeah, what's exciting for me is like being the guy on the back end, right? Like, I see the numbers and the analytics, and I work with the marketing team. And as we sit today, 6 months into the year, we're already at what we did all of last year.
Yeah.
So I think since January 1, we 5x'd our sales. So I think the word is getting out, and I think people are getting much more comfortable with CBD and opening up to it's okay. So I can't wait for that to see what our end of year turns in. And when we talk about sales, typically when we're doing it, we're always talking about money because we're running a business and that's what you do. But it always flows into how many people we're helping.
Yeah.
So if you're doing 5x in sales, that means 5 times more people are taking the product, getting results. And even from the messaging and the reviews, the testimonials, they have blown up this year. And people I think they're getting a little more forward thinking, and I think they're getting a little more open to the approach that this is okay.
They're more comfortable.
For sure.
They're more comfortable sharing, like, this has positively impacted my life. Like, how do I not share this with somebody else who's having a difficult time? And that's what we need. We need others to carry that flag, to be willing to share their experience. And we'll get to the point where it's normal. It's an everyday practice to take your CBD at the firehouse, to take your, your pills, your capsules at the kitchen table. And I've seen it here and there, but I think we're moving in the direction where it's just going to be the norm. And for something to be the norm, it always has to start somewhere. And we're more than willing to be the ones that have to endure some of the challenges and some of the obstacles, because it's that important to us.
Yeah.
And although you're going to have critics and you're going to have opinions, that's okay. Because anytime you're making a difference in this world, those things are going to happen. And those are benchmarks, right? Like no different than on a fire scene, primary search complete, water on the fire. Those are benchmarks. So anytime we get a little bit of, the behind the scenes criticism or why are you doing this, it just means we're doing something. But I'll tell you what, the positive response erases all of that. And it's been way stronger than any negative. We've been pretty fortunate. We haven't had a lot of that. It's here and there, but overall, it's been nothing but love, positive vibes, and just people getting results.
Yeah, and I think that goes to, we have a money back guarantee at this point.
Right.
Like, we don't ask questions.
No.
It's just a product, like a supplemental product or any product that you're going to put in your body doesn't work for 100% of everybody, right? And we don't care. So I've had a few messages that say that it's not really
Very
working.
few, though. Like, it hasn't really been like that many.
No, we know the product is working because we have that out there and it's used almost never.
Right.
But we don't even question it.
No.
People say they need it. It didn't work. Money back.
Yeah.
And then what we reply back is, hey, keep the product, share it with your community, give it to somebody that may need it.
Yep.
Like, we're here for the right reasons. And I think that was proven in May when we teamed up with Next Rung. And they're a nonprofit that help people with mental illness, right? And we jumped on board with them and provided 10% of all sales. And that's all sales that weren't brought in from, this partnership. It was all sales across the board.
Yeah.
And what's beautiful on that is when we're sitting down and talking about that, going over this as a business decision, it was an easy decision for us to do that. And then you jumped on it with Fit to Fight Fire and said, hey, whatever that does, we'll match it on the Fit to Fight Fire side. So I think it's things like those that, make me passionate about this, that we have the right partnership, the right people, the right opportunities are presenting themselves, and we're heading in the right direction, doing it the right way. Yeah. But let's address, where are we going from here as a business? What do you think? What is our goals of 2025, 2026, and what do we need to do?
Yeah, so when I look at the mission's clear. We want to impact as many first responders as we possibly can, right? In those 4 areas specifically, when it comes to sleep, stress, energy and focus, and pain. We want to help them overcome those areas of life that are limiting them and reducing their quality of life. So that's the constant. The mission never changes. How we reach that mission is we want to do it with the people that are out there using the products. We want them to be the ambassadors, to be the messengers. And we're always looking to work with other companies, other people that are doing good work and that are in line with our mission. We're looking to reach those communities that they have, help them reach our community with what they have, and just continue to build a team that allows us to build trust, right? Earn credibility, and continue to impact first responders. So where I see us going is doing what we've always been doing at a higher level, and doing that through relationship building and others helping us fulfill that mission.
Yeah, I think the way I see it from, a strategic growth and planning is a couple things for me, from my position in the business, is I think we need to develop some corporate relationships. So to intertwine us with other people that have similar missions and values, and allow them to market and put our products on their websites to increase just the vision and the outlook of our products, where they could go, right? Get a bigger audience. And I think adding a few other products this next year would be great too. We've heard from our audience, and gummies are a popular way of taking CBD. And so we're looking into that right now. We're trying to find the exact right ingredients and the consistency of the product. So when we do go with gummies, that people are loving the flavor, the consistency, and also the absorption rates need to be up there. So the product that they're buying is actually getting into their system.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think the gummies, they're just so easy to take. They taste good. Just don't eat the whole bag, right? Like, make sure you're doing it prescribed dosages.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to the gummies. I'm looking forward to building those relationships. Like, I love being around other people that are doing good work. You know, it's just, it's inspiring to me. It gives me energy. It fills my cup. So the more we could get out there and work with some of these other companies and corporations that are doing good work and that are in line with our mission, I think the better. And if you're somebody who's out there listening to what we're saying and that's something you want to do, please reach out to us, because we're more than open to working with others and building a team and a network of people that just positively impacts our community. And if you're outside our community, we're willing to work with you too. It doesn't necessarily have to be a first responder community or first responder business. Like anything that's doing good work, you know, reach out to us. We have something for everybody. Like you talked about earlier, it's not just that first responder community. You know, people that work 40 hours a week, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, we're all struggling with some of these issues. So we'd love to share our products with you. And if you have a business that would benefit from this, let us share our products with you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess I also just want to thank our current community. Like, it couldn't, like you're saying, we hear so many good stories, testimonials, reviews, and they're just sharing the information. And I couldn't be happier that somebody trusts us enough to be the company that they use to put that product in their system. And it's been a joy over the last 2 years getting to know people. It feels like they've kind of become our family. And a lot of the ambassadors, like, you talk to them daily and just have built an amazing friendship and relationship, both business and personal, with these people. And we just want to keep growing this community, hopefully someday to where we can have like a huge event and people can come and just feel part of this population that we're all like-minded and have similar missions and values. And yeah, and I'm just very happy to be part of this with you and the company that we built. It's been awesome.
I love how you talked about the trust, because we don't take that trust lightly, man. That is so important to us. It's the foundation of Respond Wellness is trust, earning trust, and the fact that they took a chance on us. They put our products in their body. They got the results, but the trust was there. We don't take that lightly. And if anything, that holds us to an even higher standard. And we continue to reach that standard and try to exceed that standard and move in the direction of meeting the needs of the first responder community, but doing it in such a way that we continue to grow. And like you said, it would be nice to one day have that big event, to have something greater than just that website presence where we could invite these customers and invite these people that believe in the mission, and then to really continue to give back. Like, I really look forward to growing this thing to a point where we consistently give back. Like we were able to give back in May, but really there's so many needs out there in the world that we want to grow to the point where it's easy for us to give back to things that we believe in. And that's what I'm looking forward to, is just to make an impact in the world.
Couldn't agree with you more.